Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. Eye care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. Eye care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software.
Well, you didn't have long to wait, did you, folks? We're back here. It's been half an hour since we had the Interlagos circuit showcasing a pretty solid result for Victor Miranda, but it's race 4 of Tier 2, and I have to apologise, I got the schedule a bit mixed up because of the comparing time zones. It does happen. But we have got Radical SR8s at VIR, Virginia International Raceway, for those that don't know what VIR stand for. But sports cars at a great track that also hosts the Insert Sports Car Championship, Reed. This is going to be another good one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a lot of great racetracks in Virginia. You got Richmond Raceway, Charlotte Motor Speedway, Martinsville, and a bunch of others. But Virginia International has its own special history, former country club, and now coming up as a multi-purpose venue. And that's good. The one we're going to be seeing today. And of course, when it comes to SR8s, Alex, it doesn't get a lot faster than that. We've got 380 horsepower on something like over 1,000 pounds of just raw energy coming out on some incredible straightaways, chicanes. We're really testing the limits here as we head out on to IR. A little bit of an update, it's just some housekeeping. If you are interested in racing with AMX for Season 2, here's a look at the breakdown. If you put in 0, 5, or 20 bucks, you can win your chunk of a prize pool eclipsing 31, 34, or $506. So a lot of prize money on the line. Get out there and race. And you can, of course, do all of that at amxrace.com. We got 80-minute qualifiers, or 80-minute practice, 10-minute qualifiers, and of course, around 20 minutes for our time here spent in SR8s on Virginia International Raceway. And here are the days when you can do that. Of course, this is in U.S. Eastern Daylight Time, whatever time it is out there in EST, which I believe is -4. You can adjust the schedule. We are on April 18th, going into the 20th, and of course, 4 race days every week, 2 races every day. And here are the points at the highest level of competition, paid Tier 2. $20 entry fee, $1 per point, and 100 points for first. With enough points for the fastest lap. You can see the breakdown on your screen there. Alex, a lot of money on the line.
Yep, and unfortunately, if you do not finish 80% of the race distance, that's considered as a non-finish, which means you don't get any points, folks. You've got to be in it to win it, but you've also got to finish at least 80% of the race distance. So this particular circuit, VIR, has been around since the late 1950s. It was brought back in the early 2000s back to what it is now. AMA, so American Motorcycle Racing, and of course the WeatherTech Insert Sports Car Championship, most notably hosting the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR. It is a really, really technical, very, very challenging, very fast-flowing circuit. And the Radical SR8 has been around for the best part of over a decade and a half. 2.6 litre V8, producing up to 430 horsepower, and also it weighs just 1,500 pounds, which is equivalent to just under the weight of a modern-day Formula 1 car, which is over 750 kilos. These cars weigh in at 680 kilos. It has a PowerTech VTEC 6-speed sequential gearbox. It's got a mid-mounted engine. It's longitudinally mounted as well. And It's actually constructed at a location just an hour and a half from where I live here in the United Kingdom, a place called Peterborough, and radicals have still attracted people from around the globe. It even held the lap record on the Nürburgring Nordschleife and did it in a 6-minute 48.26. We're coming into the final throws practice. A few more competitors this time, but these cars here, Reed, they look great, they sound great too.
We're going to get a little bit of a trip inside the cockpit here with Victor Miranda, the winner of our first race out on Interlagos. He's going to have to turn things around, doing it clockwise this time, and it's going to be an absolutely electrifying race, not only because he is racing in it, but also because it sounds good, it looks even better, and it feels incredible when you race these SR8s on a back rate of Virginia International Raceway. It is going to be some incredible top speeds. We are really, really going to have to watch our racers going to value the opportunities to really leverage that speed, because if you travel the top side of this track, there are a lot of turns. Some snakes, some chicanes, the Big South Bend, and of course a nasty horseshoe off of the front straight. So we might not see these top speeds for very often during this race, but they are going to be nonetheless incredibly important, as will be our racers. Control, you can see even Victor Miranda is still kind of feeling out the potential for this track.
Yeah, so let's see if we can go on a hot lap with Victor Miranda here in free practice, down the main straight-away. Accelerating, well, he decides he's going to slow it down, so let's see if we can find something to do a hot lap. Every time that happens, I get absolutely infuriated, but Noah Gaspar's decided to do a bit of Valtteri Bottas-style grass cutting, like we
a little bit of gardening,
did back in Austria a couple of years ago. But we're on board with Noah Gaspar, who was third in the race at Interlagos now. Right. A new livery for Beta Season 2. Welcome along, back in the saddle, Fabio Zanfellini. As they're going into one of the most treacherous parts of this circuit, which will be more than likely the roller coaster section of Henry Sellersmith Company. So down through into turn 16, and slight left, now into the right at 17 at Hog Pen. And you've got a sweeping right-hander that goes up the hill. So riding on board with Noah Gaspar. Now heading through across the start-finish line to start a lap of the circuit here at VIR. On the brakes, down into the horseshoe, as Reed alluded to just earlier on. Very tight and technical. Putting on the power up to 30th through the second one of the horseshoe. Now through into NASCAR band here at turn 3. To 90 left, you've got to be very, very committed. Don't run too wide on the exit of the corner. Now into the left at 4. Right at 5, then 5A, for the Snake Complex at 6 and 6A. And you're going to see the elevation changes, and also the adverse camber changes that these radical SR8s are going to have to deal with. Now the long run down to T7, and this is when you're basically going to be at full attack, using the camber and the undulations of the circuit to get all the way through towards South Bend, and then into turn 11, and then turn 12. At Oak Tree. There used to be an oak tree on the inside of turn number 12, but due to safety grounds, unfortunately, that physical part of the circuit had to be removed. And they're going to be making their way down the back straight, so no left-right chicane through Madison Avenue, but we're going to see the closing speed. Heading on towards turns 14 and 14A, Noah Gaspar goes through. He's still keeping it around the outside, going into the roller coaster section, and so named because the downhill gradient straight away, and you can see how twitchy these cars are through 15. Now are on board with Argentina's Custom Bill Harvey. That is a lap of VIR, these radical SR8s for Victor Miranda. In the time sheets in the moment with a 1 minute 41.23, just over 2.5 tenths quicker than Noah Gaspar, but already they're fitting each other out before we've even gotten to qualify.
Yeah, that's right. We're still in practice right here. So we did skip practice the last time around. So I'm glad we get a chance to really see kind of these drivers not in their qualifiers. Okay, that's how you can tell it's practice, guys. Sometimes you got to step away and take a phone call for a second. And that is probably going to do it for the end of our practice. Hopefully not practicing for reenacting that moment in the actual race, but nice to see a few laps around the track just to get a feel for what we are going for. Currently, you can see in that Patriot course a little bit of a golf zone in the middle, and you can section off this raceway into north, south, east, and west. But for now, we're doing the full course. You get to see a little bit of everything in the gorgeous hill country of Virginia. So even the old school house there in the middle from the way back days when this course was really, really dead. Of course, coming back and now keeping a little bit of that history front and center for us as we get to see a revitalized racetrack. Very happy to see that coming back again, even here in AMX Season 2.
Yep, the circuit itself is also located just under half a mile from the Virginia and North Carolina border. So, one of the things that we like to do, we like to inform, we like to entertain, but we also like to educate you people out there in sim racing and esports, and especially with what's been happening in sim racing, especially with ESL and ESL R1 now really coming to the fore. I've been following that all the way through. We are now heading into our official qualifying session for this particular race. There is the ever charismatic and ever colourful Fabio Zampolini. It's especially with that livery, he's gone up another level since beta season 1. As we're riding on board, he's pushing over 140 miles an hour, maybe about 150. But everyone's sort of hitting each other out at the moment here in qualifying. They're going to get the brakes, they're going to get the tyres up to temp, and then it's going to be just push, pedal to the metal, limits of adhesion. And around this circuit, you and I both know, really, that it is one stern challenge. And with these cars, they're not going to have the traditional ABS and traction control like you would do on a modern-day sports car. They're a bit rough and ready around the edges, as Fabio Zampolini decides to exit stage left. Please don't tell me you're trying to do your Jimmy Kahn impersonation on the grass there, good sir.
That's when you just really hate like squirrels and groundhogs. You see one of them out there and you can't just let it go. You gotta go kill it and then return to racing. Multiple wind conditions here today. Man, what do you reckon the clearance is on these SR8s? Alex, this is... you could really see them kind of struggle. Hitting that curb can be really destabilizing. Anytime you start to lift up one side, going a little bit too fast around the bend, these cars do not forgive you. They do not forget what you try to put them through. Absolute monsters, but I say as I see the monster livery. But absolutely difficult to control when it comes to the lack of those creature comforts from more modern race vehicles, and that makes it even more impressive. If you're watching, you don't really get a feel for how much more difficult that can make the cars to control until you try to slam on the brakes around a turn, and it really slams it on. No traction control, no ABS, makes it even more impressive to see racers like Josh Perwin and Victor Miranda on your screen make consecutive laps at top speeds.
Yeah, ground clearance on these Radical SR8s is absolutely quite significantly minimal. Maybe I'd say probably an inch off the ground if you're lucky. As we see Victor Miranda, who's currently sitting P3 in qualifying. Kyle Gaspar, though, is the fastest out there with a 1 minute 46.93. Josh Perwin, who put it on the front row and then had the incident with this man here. Lowy Santi, currently sitting in P3. But as I say that, Victor Miranda goes quicker than Gaspar by just 3.5 tenths of a second. It's a second between the top three because Perwin's down in third position. Zampolini goes in with a 1:43.255, and that puts the top four within 1.4 seconds of each other. Lowy Santi has set a best lap of 1 minute 50.37. Gaston Coulharvey is quite a way off the pace at the moment, bless him. He's actually ended up in 7th at the moment, as Lois Santi's just had an off track. And there is Victor Miranda. It's great to see the Texaco logo on the normal white backdrop as opposed to the black backdrop that we saw on the stock cars. There's Gaston Coulthard bringing back a bit of 1980s Brabham Formula 1 livery back in the day when Nelson Piquet would win with Brabham a Formula 1 world title, also would win with Williams. So Parmalat livery, very iconic back in the days, and quite recently the Goodwood members meeting this past weekend. A certain David Brabham was driving said car, piloted by Nelson Piquet, fully restored and still as fire-breathing as ever. We're on board with, at the moment, Caio Gaspar, who is coming out of the final corner. Now he's 3.5 tenths of a second behind Miranda. I don't think that was... No, what was his lap time? That was a personal best for him. And he goes top. Now he's gone top, so Victor Miranda has got a fight for pole position. We're halfway through the session at the moment, but it's really, really good to see that with these cars, you've got to be so finite on the balance with regards to it all, Reed, and that in qualifying is quite crucial, but we do know that times of a show points to go here at AMX Global.
Yeah, absolutely. 141's relatively, solid time. I think there is room for improvement there, and if anybody is going to show that improvement, Miranda Gaspar and now Jackson Resende ascending in the ranks. 142 for him, all capable of setting these absolute top times. You can see just tenths or even hundredths of a second separating our qualifiers. It is group qualifying, and that means that the drivers might take a little bit of time to spread themselves out on the track before they absolutely go for their qualifying lap. And if they get that started right before the 10-minute mark, they'll still have the opportunity to finish it out. So probably just warming things up, getting a feel for what their times are going to look like before hitting that one final monster qualifying lap, although it's going to be hard for guys like Caio Gaspar to improve on a 141, very respectable time around the track today.
Top 5 covered by just under 6.5 tenths. That is how crucial this qualifying session is, and when we've had the likes of Gael Valero amongst us, who has competed in some of the races here on Beta Season 2, but his commitments with Apex Racing Team seem to have not taken him away from us, but his appearances are a little bit less forthcoming than they were in season number 1. But Victor Miranda has got just over 2.5 minutes to put in a pretty significant lap, because the gap between him and Caio Gaspar, who currently holds on to pole position, 1 minute 41.716. Fabio Zampolini, a further 10th. So 0.267 covers the top 3. A further 10th back to Jackson Resende. Make that even less because he's just improved. He's just gone in with a 1 minute 42.046. So it's a Brazilian top 4 lockout at the moment. Josh Perwin still got some time to find. He's currently nearly halfway through his lap. There's Fabio Zampolini, currently in P3 at the moment. He's done a very, very novel trick with that livery, that the headlights have eyelashes on it. So he's definitely made that car look as pretty as he can.
Now, every time you think to yourself, default livery, that's not bad. That's what I'm used to seeing. Every once in a while, you get a guy with a little bit of creativity here, and it's nice to see Zampolini really flexing his art skills and keeping the race a little bit more exciting, a little bit more vibrant, vivid, dynamic. I'll leave the extensive adjectives to you and your British vocabulary. I'm still running out of ways to describe exactly how cotton candy-esque his livery looks.
Hang on a second, Victor Miranda's just gone in with a 1 minute 41.573. He was on pace.
Whoa.
He was fastest in sectors 3, 5 and 6 here at VIR. So what was a 0.16 disadvantage, he's turned that into a 3/10 of a second pendulum swing. So now, with 40 seconds on the clock, it's the run for pole position. Very much clearly between Miranda and Gaspar, but Josh Perween has also improved. He's gone slightly quicker by 1/1000th in comparison with Fabio Zampolini. Miranda making his way through to the far part of the circuit. There is Gaspar. He's making his way, looks to be towards South Bend and Oak Tree, possibly, more than likely. But you can just see how committed these drivers are. Timer is counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Checkered is out for the session. There is Josh Perween. So sometimes they might be part way through the lap. If they're most of the way through the lap, sometimes they can make it before the server cuts them off. And we have seen it where drivers have been pushing like crazy. They're up on their previous sectors. They're gunning for second. They're gunning for third. And they just get cut short. It is part and parcel of what happens. We keep an eye on Josh Perween at the moment as he's out of the final corner. Is he going to improve from third position? No, he doesn't. But Victor Miranda is an absolute charlatan at the moment. He's just put in another fastest lap, a 1:41.320. And Gaspar is, well, it's just started another, well, he's just improved, but marginally. But Miranda with, again, he's pulling that rabbit out of the magician's hat once again. 1:41.3, so 2 races in a row here tonight on AMX Global. Victor Miranda is showing his hand here, Reed. Everyone's got to be on their A game tonight for this race here at VIR.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, even when you talk about a race like Le Mans, the LMPs, right? Incredible top speeds. Even then, their fastest time is only about a 1:39, 1:36. I think Lucas Lerv put in 2012. But the idea is that our racers here in these SR8s are setting absolutely comparable times to the very, very fastest racers we've ever seen on VIR. So just really, really cool to see the mirroring of real life and here in iRacing, just showing the caliber, the pedigree of racers like Victor Miranda. Not content to sit on that top time, he continues to dominate, and always kind of a good preview of what to expect as we go through our race. The qualifiers put him at the top of the podium for now in that pole position as we head out into the grid for our main race of the day. You know, it was a little bit of a brief respite watching some stock cars on Interlagos, and now we are really going to put the pedal to the metal here in with these SR8s on Virginia International Raceway.
Yeah, a fantastic circuit. I can't wait because I think it's looking like it's going to be a 20-minute race or equivalent laps, so we could get probably, I'd probably say 12 laps like we had at Interlagos for the stock cars. So, but folks, remember the last time Radical SR8s actually raced on AMX Global? It was a free-for-all. It really, really was. We had incidents, we had great overtaking. I'm expecting exactly the same here, but Victor Miranda is running with a head full of momentum and confidence at the moment. And there we go. We're going to be doing a rolling start. So this is the results after qualification. Victor Miranda on pole position. Kaya Gaspar will be alongside. Josh Perween from Black Arts Racing will have Duckhawk Racing's Fabio Zampolini alongside him on the second row. Then it's Jackson Resende, Gaston Coulharvey and Lowy Santi rounding out the 7-strong grid. Speeds will be at some points on this circuit in excess of 150 miles an hour. These cars powered by a 2.7 litre V8 naturally aspirated engine. And you know what? Once that pace car pulls in, Reed, it's going to be full throttle all the way to the checkered.
Absolutely, Alex. We are going to hit some absolute monster top speeds, around 400 horsepower, dragging these cars across the track, and I just cannot wait to see what happens when we get this pace car out of the way. And it should be happening momentarily. You can see warming up those tires just a little bit, getting ready to go. Out on what is going to be one of our fastest races of the season, and some absolute monsters of racing. Consistent top finishers here. Victor Miranda leading there in the Texaco livery in pole position.
So, lights are out on the Porsche iRacing safety car. 10 laps of racing of the Virginia International Raceway, just a stone's throw off of the North Carolina and Virginia border. 7 drivers in their Radical SR8s, just waiting, and you'll see a little bit of weaving from side to side. They'll be hitting on the brakes, and Victor Miranda, don't get too eager passing the safety car. Remember that, Max Verstappen, a couple of years ago. I just have to say it like it is, you know me. I mean, I've got one of these photographic memories, and it's always a case of seeing something. Well, no. The thing is that he was on that fine line, and Victor Miranda might have gotten a little bit of slap on the wrist. He might have gotten some incident points for that if he was. But he knows exactly what he's doing. Very much in the vein of when Kimi Räikkönen said that in Abu Dhabi in 2012 when he was racing for Lotus, and then promptly went round the wrong part of the circuit at the circuit we just visited a few minutes ago, Interlagos. And then was ridiculed as a direct result of that. So, yeah, but there is a lot more racing coming up, which will be happening within the next 48 hours, as we'll have race day 8, 2 races, which will be GT3s at Sonoma, and the iconic new GTP car from Munich, the BMW M Hybrid V8, and that will be at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. So that will be race day 8 coming up in the next few days, but now they're getting into formation. You know what? Sometimes with rolling laps, formation laps, especially in sports cars, you've got those goosebumps happening. But folks, Porsche pace car now peels in. Miranda on pole position, Gaspar alongside. And once the green flag drops, we will be underway. They are gathering a head full of speed.
And here we are, off to the races. Absolutely incredible top speeds about to be approached here. Of course, we're just coming through turn 1 and really about to see the full potential. But like you said earlier, Alex, last time we saw these SRAs out here, you saw some little unfortunate dust-ups, and already back in the back of the pack, Zamperlini, his car looks good, but his driving's a little bit smoky there, so got to keep an eye on absolutely every moment of action here on Virginia International Raceway, as some of our racers might have some trouble as these cars remain bunched up after a very close start.
Cold tyres, cold brakes on the opening lap out of 10. Josh Perwin has already gotten through on Kyle Gaspar, and it's just only a second away from the race leader, our race winner from Interlagos in the stock cars earlier on tonight, Victor Miranda. So this is going to be a lot more fast-paced than what we had last time, which is effectively a touring car. Now you've got a full-blooded, kicking, snarling, fire-breathing, V8-powered British sports car running its way around Virginia amok. But Gaston Coulthard running the Parmalat livery. Fabio Zamperlini had a difficult start. He was on the outside of row number 2, and now he's dropped to 6th position. But Bill starting to concertina a little bit as they go through in towards what will be the completion of the opening lap. They've gone through the roller coaster section. They're going through Hogpen at turns 17 and 17A. And Josh Perwin trying to close the gap on Victor Miranda, but the Brazilian has now got nearly the best part of nearly a second advantage. The gaps between 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th are decreasing rapidly. No surprise that in clear air, Victor Miranda, fastest one out of anybody, 1 minute 45.454 on the opening lap. But still, with just under 9 laps to go, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely anything, Alex. You're really seeing exactly how this race can expand, right? If you get a good apex out of Hogpen coming through that front straight, you can really lengthen that lead. Currently, all of our racers sitting within a second of each other. So, like you said, anything can happen. Even guys like Zamperlini, half a second off fifth there in the back after a cold start. He is really heating it up and keeping pace with the rest of the pack. And I'm really curious to see when our racers do choose to make that aggressive move to try to improve their placements here. Currently all able to complete their first lap, so proof of concept is there. No challenges too great for our racers today, other than perhaps each other. And already we're starting to see some of the gaps narrowing with Zamperlini right on the heels of Gaston Calevi there at 5th and 6th.
Yeah, Zamperlini was in the tow down the back straightaway. And looking up the inside of Gaston Coolharvey for 5th position, but the Brazilian having to hold back and wait. You can see the onboard, and also as they come out of the final corner, a brief look at the telemetry of what gear and also what speed the car was doing at the time. But also on the back straightaway, one of the other things, as we see with Josh Berwin's put in the fastest lap, 1:41.720. Berwin is closed that gap. It's been truncated by about a quarter over the opening couple of laps. We're on to lap number 3 out of 10. And Victor Miranda starting to stretch that advantage ever so slightly, going through left hook and then into the double right at 5 and 5A before the Snake Complex. And we're back on board with Fabio Zamperlini, who's off and
into
the air.
God! Yeah, and you see that damage. He is, even if he does right the ship here to get back on the track, his car is hurting. What a momentous occasion, right into that wall. And really curious to see what happened there. Can't wait to get a second look, because that looked absolutely monstrous. What a way to go out after keeping it close for so long.
Yeah, he basically came through the roller coaster, and it was all nice and well timed going into the horseshoe. But coming out of the horseshoe, you applied the power a little bit too early, and that just scrapped the car out to the right hand side and put him in the barriers. Now we're back on board with another car this time. This time it's Jackson Resende. Is the replay coming up? So coming through the complex, yeah, he just booted the power, just tried to turn the car in. It didn't bite, and he's even spinning the wheels going up into the air. So well kept held on the throttle, Mr. Zamperlini. So back to the racing action. There is the number 5, Josh Bowen. Jackson Resende, courtesy of the double sow that he's getting at the moment, got the 2 in front, has got a 1:41.132. So it is getting very, very close for the second position at the moment. Just over 7-8 tenths separate these three. And this is going to be rather close as Gaspar nearly has Resende up the back end. And that just goes to show how quickly things can change. But Resende gathers it up rather nicely there, Reed, and decides, well, one slight squeaky bum time moment right there. Well, I'm going to be back on it very, very quickly indeed. And he held that very, very well.
Yeah, you did absolutely hold it. Did have to, I guess, really put it, into full focus right on that moment. And trying to hold these positions is going to be increasingly difficult as we get on through the halfway point of the race. Because, Perwin, this is one of his best races all season so far. We did say yesterday he had 2 championship finishes in the first place, and that was really, really impressive. His best showing, and now sitting here in number 2, probably not content to stay there. So absolutely keep an eye on this man as we go a little bit further through the race, because he has had a taste of victory twice yesterday, and now looking to repeat that performance here on Virginia International Raceway.
Yeah, and still the battle for P4 is very much still open. Jackson Resende looking to the outside of Caio Gaspar to get the undercut. Will Gaspar run wide? No, he doesn't. We're on to lap number 5 out of 10. and Josh Perween has gotten away. He's about nearly a second and a half up the road. So the real big battle out on the circuit is between these two here. Resende nearly got into the back bumper and nearly lost the back end at the same time a couple of moments ago, but he's managed to gather himself up. He's kept on pushing. Very different lines taken through the curbing by both drivers, but Gaspar is now trying to break the toe for Resende. It's easier said than done. You can see how aggressive Resende is being on the curbing. Sometimes that can help you with carrying the momentum through, but other times it can actually compromise your run of momentum and slow you down ever so slightly. So we're on board with the rear view camera for the briefest of moments with Jackson Resende. Down the back straightaway they go, and the speeds are going to be increasing. They're going to be heading through into turns 14 and 14A and heading into the roller coaster momentarily. There is Josh Perween. So the gap was a second and a half, but Gaspar's found something, or Perween's probably made a mistake. So that just goes to show how quickly with these radical SR8s that your race can be turned upside down. What we saw with Fabio Zampellini.
Yeah, absolutely. Heartbreak there for Fabio as he sits way back in the back after pitting, repairing, and now he is going to complete that 80% of the race that we said he had to, but will probably not be in contention for the podium just now. See, the race are the lap times coming through 141s and 2s, so absolutely on pace from our qualifying times. With Miranda way up in the pack, the top of the pack, over 2 seconds on his follower, Josh Perween. But that is where things really heat up, and that's what you're seeing here on your screen. The battle for second. Less than a second, and less than a tenth of a second sometimes there. Jackson Resende absolutely chewing up the bumper of Caio Gaspar there in third. And of course, both of them very close to Josh Perween, who is having a monster lap, a monster of a race here with the monster car in his rear view mirror.
Yeah, Josh Perween lost over a second to Victor Miranda on the previous lap, set a 1 minute 42.75. So a mistake, as that is Gaspar sideways out of Oak Tree. How on earth did you hang on to that one? As we get an indication of the speed in the bottom right hand corner of your screens, 238, 240 kph, that's north of 150 miles an hour, and the speed is still climbing. That's 160 miles an hour heading into the roller coaster section. Now down through the roller coaster itself, through into 15, now into 16. Then into Hogpen here at turn 17 and 17A, amber and undulation. Big characteristic of this circuit here at VIR, but with second really again being hotly contested. Perween has lost a little bit more time. His lap time should be better. It's nearly 7/10 better on that last occasion, 1 minute 42.084, but Resende is there. He's got the ringside seat. He's waiting to get past Caio Gaspar in the monster liveried Radical, the number 4. And Resende again, another fastest lap of the race so far. Well, you can see on the right hand side of the columns, those are the fastest laps. So Jackson Resende will get 50 points for a fastest lap, but if he makes a mistake like that, it's not going to work, Jackson, I'm afraid.
Yeah, really rough trip there through the chicane. You can see trying to cut it as close as possible, but at these top speeds with this power, just the smallest adjustment will send you off onto the grass up in the weeds. So really careful. Kind of a double-edged sword there with Resende just sending it like the end of his name implies.
Yeah. But now you can see the weaving start to happen. Perween starting to try and break the toe, but Gaspar is within 2/10, not even a tenth and a half. As they go down the back straightaway, Gaspar is going to try and put pressure on Perween. Looks up the inside, and he loses all that momentum and all that speed because Perween shut the door rather quickly. Gaspar saw it coming, reacted accordingly. Now that puts him back into the clutches of Jackson Resende. So Perween was very defiant in his defence there, and that just goes to show you have someone like Josh Perween, who I know has competed with quite a few teams, including Black Arts Racing, including Sem9 Axel, run by Malaysian XF1 driver Alex Young, and that's one of the longest standing sim racing teams around. Has been around for over 2 decades. So now Perween has got a little bit of breathing space as we're on to lap number 8 out of 10. Victor Miranda is, whilst all this tomfoolery and mucking about behind him has happened, Victor Miranda again here, Reed, has pulled away. His gap now is 3.8 seconds.
Yeah, not great for his branding and screen time, Victor Miranda. We have not seen him for very much of this race. He is way up there. You'll catch a glimpse of his fumes up in the distance right there, but the pack is far back, over 4 seconds almost. But it is still very close. We saw Josh Perwin absolutely slam the door with a stalwart defense of his second place spot. He is not giving that up without a fight. But the fight is coming to him with Caio Gaspar and Jackson Resende absolutely back on each other's heels, keeping that race for second absolutely as close as possible. The rest of the pack, of course, substantially back there after Zamperlini's tragedy early on in the race. But as we close in on our penultimate lap, the time is now. If there is a move to be made, Caio Gaspar, Resende, or Kulebi will have to make it before we hit that white flag. Only a few moments remaining, and our time's out here on Virginia International Raceway.
Mistake from Resende there. He has dropped back significantly, 1.5 seconds, or pretty much there or thereabouts, between him and Caio Gaspar. So Resende, I think, might have just outbraked himself and lost a lot of momentum, as there is a switch from Gaspar, who literally straight lines one of the chicanes, and Resende now able to close as a direct correlation. Gaspar, though, was edging ever closer to Josh Perwin, who still stands his ground and holds on to that second position, nearly 4.7 seconds, but 4.7 seconds now behind Victor Miranda, but Resende is looking a little bit closer than he was last time after his moment on the previous lap. You're going to see once again they're moving from side to side now. If that was in real life racing, you'd be given a black and white warning flag for weaving, and then you're probably in to see the stewards post race if that ever happened. And I have seen that on multiple occasions. I see that a lot in karting as well. You can make one move, but if you make 2 moves, you are. But we are getting closer and closer. White flag is out. Lap 10 out of 10 is underway. Victor Miranda, once again, will cruise to the finish line very, very shortly. But Caio Gaspar is within 6/10 of Josh Perwin. The back straightaway is probably going to be his best opportunity to get the run on the number 5 as they make their way through into the opening technical part of the circuit here at VIR. Hard on the power. It's going to be a short blip on the brakes, and then you can hear the 2.7 litre naturally aspirated longitudinally mounted V8 just pull through the gears as there's not much of this lap left here, Reed, and Gaspar has got to do something about it, but Resende could also be dangerous if Gaspar goes for a move and it causes drama for him and Perwin, because Perwin is now sizing up to start defending as they go through Oak Tree for the final time.
That's right, Oak Tree. It has been mounted, and now we are into the back straight. Absolute monster top speeds will be being set here. Half a second to make up there for Caio Gaspar. He is flooring it, really letting this beast roar. But unfortunately, the straight does not last forever. And we're going to be coming into roller coaster and Hogpin, lowering those speeds down and all but solidifying Josh Perwin's second place podium finish. Caio Gaspar, of course, keeping it defensive and maintaining his speed there as we come around the hog pen, looking for our final straightaway, the front straight, leading into turn 18 and leading into the end of the race. A checkered flag for Victor Miranda, Josh Perwin in second, and Caio Gaspar rounding out the podium.
Jackson Resende finishes nearly a further 7.5 tenths behind. Gaston Coolharvey, the Argentinian driver, takes 5th. Lowy Santi, very much untroubled and undamaged in comparison with race 1 earlier on tonight at Interlagos. He'll come across the line very, very shortly and does so now. We've got a little bit of a wait. There is the charismatic, colourful individual that is Mr. Fabio Zampolini, who I think at one point, after one particular broadcast on Beta Season 1, decided to follow me on Instagram. So thank you very much for that, Fabio. I haven't forgotten that one, nor will I forget this livery. He comes out of the final corner and is nearly 30 seconds behind Lowy Santi. And that is going to conclude this race, Tier 2, Race 4 here at VIR. But it's Victor Miranda who has done the double tonight. And hopefully very shortly, there are the results for there's Tier 2, Race 4 of Beta Season 2 here on AMX Global. Victor Miranda, your winner by nearly 5.4 seconds. Another step to the virtual rostrum for Josh Bowen in P2. KTF BRB Esports Caio Gaspar rounds out the top 3. Jackson Resende from Canaan Esports Brazil takes 4th. Gaston Coolharvey from Argentina rounds out the top 5. And the pair of Duck Hawk racing cars, Lowy Santi and Fabio Zampolini, round out the finishing order. And what's more, folks, everyone scores points because they all made it to 100% race distance. I mean, Reed, that race was brilliant. I mean, Miranda had an early getaway. Irwin was closing in on him, made a handful of unforced errors. Then we saw Zampolini's unfortunate, untimely demise on lap 2 coming out of turn 3. That just goes to show that with these radicals, I did say when we came back after the little half-hour intermission that it was going to be difficult. Zampolini found out the hard way, but still made it to the checkered. But Victor Miranda, a double winner tonight. You know, it's been great, isn't it?
Absolutely, Alex. Taking a little bit of a page out of Josh Perwin's book from yesterday, had the double top finish there, and Victor Miranda absolutely right back to form, taking it back and getting a couple of wins under his belt today as well. Though, of course, a very hard-fought battle there in the second by Josh Perwin to maintain his position there through our time at Virginia International Raceway. And if it had been a runway instead of a raceway, you would have seen the absolutely beautiful livery there. Fortunately, in last place, probably come up in first for Zampolini. But a very, very kind of rogues gallery host of some of the best racers we have to offer here in AMX Season 2. And if you thought the action was done, well, you're kind of right for today, but we'll be coming back again tomorrow with a rolling start out onto Sonoma Raceway with some GT3s. And of course, then rounding out the day then with BMW M Hybrid V8s on Nürburgring Grand Prix track. So more electrifying racing left to come in AMX Season 2. And if you would like to join us, you can head on over to amxrace.com and sign up for the next races. We've got free $5, $20 entries, so make sure to go ahead and check that all out at amxrace.com. And that is going to do it for today. Any final words, Alex?
Well, folks, don't forget, hit us up on socials. You can see all the relevant IDs. If you are a sim racer out there, get your backside onto the AMX Global Discord. You can find the links in the description down below. You know what? As they say, the more the merrier. Sim racing is on the rise. If ESL can bring ESL R1 with Rennsport to the fore, then we here at AMX Global want to cater for the every person in sim racing. No matter your skill level, whether you want to put in entry money or not, we're here for you. So make sure you go, as Reed said, amxrace.com, sign up and have some fun. That's what we're all about here. A total of 90 races over Season 2, a prize fund of $16,000 US. And we're going to be running all the way through to the end of the month of June. So I think really that's about it from us. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for race day 8. We've got some GT3 and some GTP action, and boy, are you going to love it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.